Sonic community is notorious among the internet for a multitude of reasons that I'd rather not get into. Instead, I'd rather talk about one of the more notorious Sonic games out there. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, or for short, Sonic 06. I'm gonna be hung for this opinion, but I actually kind of like Sonic 06. As a kid, the bugs and glitches never really bothered me. I just found them funny. And for those of you that don't know the game, it was very well known for its bugs and glitches. So much to the point that the Sonic fan wiki has its own page dedicated to listing off some of the most well-known glitches in the game. One of my personal favorites is dubbed Blaze Lighthouse Hyperdrive, which causes her to fly off into the sunset like a missile. It's just so random. I don't know how the devs managed to let this happen, and I feel bad for the first person who found the glitch. But anyway, today I wanted to share with you a project I've had my eye on for, I think, 5 years. It's a recreation of Sonic 06 from the ground up, made in Unity.
Unreal Engine's better.
We are not having that conversation right now. Anyway, the way Project 06 shows the potential of what Sonic 06 could have been was by adding many quality of life changes, which by that point is already a Pyrocynical commission-sized achievement. But then the project goes above and beyond by adding new features that actually work, and adding in content that never made it into the base game. The amount of work and dedication Sonic fans put into projects like these is just insane. And if you were up for it, I really do suggest checking out some of the other fan games out there. A lot of them could be on par or even better with some of the official Sonic games we have today. And don't forget, these developers give these games out for free, and they work on them for free or have a Patreon, meaning they're basically making these games as passion projects, which has been the case for ChaosX, the sole developer of Project 06, for years now. ChaosX has had a bit of help from other people here and there. One of the oldest crediting I could find was for a user called Beats, who helped getting the footage on the announcement trailer for Project 06 when the project was just one stage. And now Beats has been a long-time helper, listed in the official credits for the project, along with other users such as Gotta Play Fast, Gerocyclo Gaming, Sonic Po X, and some special thanks to some other people. At this time of recording, the project is nearing completion. The Sonic, Shadow, and Silver stories are all complete, bar the bosses. So by the time this video releases, there could be a new version up already. Currently, we've seen some previews of the final story, thanks to ChaosX showcasing them on Stelmo98's streams, someone who is very prominent in the Project 06 speedrunning community.
We are in White Acropolis. Get your cat jams, cat jams, and Stelmo jams out. Alrighty, Chad, let's get the 360. Ooh.
Yeah, I was a day one in the Stelmo98 fandom, back when I found his channel on like 5k subs. And in one of those streams, ChaosX also said he may be working on Very Hard Mode, which I think was a DLC for the original Sonic 06 before it got removed from storefronts. But Very Hard Mode probably won't be released for a while.
But of course, the next release of P-06, like, I guess the next full release, is going to contain the end of the world, all the boss fights, Team Attack Amigo, and the very hard stages, right?
Very hard is still debatable because it's a lot of work, but
Fair.
I mean, the rest, yes, that's all going to be there.
By the way, Sonic 06 was put back onto the Xbox 360 marketplace, but that's been shut down now. So unless if you have a physical copy, it's basically lost media. Thankfully, I still have a physical copy, so I'm happy. Going back to ChaosX, he said there will be no hub world, which is a shame, but I mean, in the original game, it was like 50-50. It helped make the game feel more like Sonic Adventure with the hub world and helping progress the story and just being able to run around, do whatever you wanted. That was kind of fun. But at the same time, more especially in the forest area.
Is that what a tree looks like?
It was just a stupidly long walking simulator, and on top of that, the stupidly long loading times just made it even worse. Thanks to the poor optimization of the game and the Xbox 360 and PS3 hardware limitations, thankfully there is a saving grace. Just like some other Sonic fan games out there, the project has a fairly dedicated modding scene. The modders even managed to make their own stage creator to help import and create your own custom stages. So it wouldn't surprise me if the modders were somehow able to mod in the hub world and maybe even spice them up a little bit. So the project itself doesn't just have a dedicated developer pushing the game, but the community's dedication to supporting the game is just as strong. The modders even went as far as creating their own custom Sonic and the Secret Rings character controller and porting the levels from Secret Rings into Project 06. And for those of you who are unaware, Sonic and the Secret Rings was one of the 2 storybook games Sonic Team developed for the Nintendo Wii. It had a single player and a multiplayer. The multiplayer was akin more to Mario Party, with a board space and mini games for players to compete in, whereas the single player was more story focused, with one of the worst control schemes in gaming history.
Tilting the Wii remote to the left and right will move you in that direction.
Tilting the Wii remote forwards and backwards to move. No nunchuck required. However, the music and intro cutscene go hard, so 10 bonus points for style. Now, you can imagine the shock when Project Reignited was announced, which is basically Secret Rings, but playable on PC with full controller support. There's a demo out there at the minute, which is pretty basic, but the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because it's actually really similar to Project 06 when it was in its infancy. Back when it was just 1 or 2 stages and really basic at that, people had doubts that the project would go anywhere and it would just be a huge nothing burger. But then you look at how far the project has come today. I personally believe Project Reignition has the same potential to help buff out the flaws the original game had and allow it to show off the potential of the game with a new shiny coat of paint, but only time will tell. Going back onto the hub world, in the original game there was 2 main uses of the hub world. One would be to drive the story forwards. We don't talk about the story.
The flames of disaster!
And the other use was for unlocking bonus abilities at the shop. Some of them were required for story progression, such as for Sonic, the light chip, which unlocked the light speed dash, anti-gravity, which unlocked sliding, and the bounce bracelet for bouncing. But there were some bonus abilities you could unlock on top of that, which could help you obtain higher ranks in stages. As the hub world isn't going to be in Project 06, ChaosX still wanted to add the abilities, so instead he went the route of giving the player all of the essential abilities and then allowing you to unlock the other abilities within the stages as collectibles, giving a good amount of replayability for the player. But he didn't just stop there. ChaosX went above and beyond for this project.
That was incredible!
Even adding essentially super modes for each of the 3 main Hedgehogs. Sonic with his supersonic form, Shadow with his uninhibited mode, and Silver with his ESP mode. Each of these modes are actually separate from one another and have their own unique pros and cons. And Chaos didn't make it easy to unlock these either. You have to S-rank all of the stages for that character perfect, and then go to a certain location on a certain stage to find the collectible to unlock that mode. I won't go into detail about each ability, location, and what they do, as I don't want these videos going on for too long. Animation takes a really long time, and if I wanted to keep up with the monthly schedule, I'd have to cut back on some things, at least for now. However, if you wanted to learn more about each of the abilities, Stelmo98, who I mentioned earlier, has a plethora of Project 06 videos, from character info sheets to collectible guides and even just general tips and tricks for the game. So he has like a whole encyclopedia of just Project 06 videos out there. I'd say he's a really good foundation for the community Project 06 is built up. Now, the final thing I wanted to bring up was just talking about the core gameplay. If we look at a side-by-side comparison of the original game to Project 06, you can instantly see how much smoother the game looks, runs, and just feels. The game as a whole just looks so much cleaner, and with the small quality of life improvements, like being able to spin dash while moving. In the original game, the spin dash was just useless, as you could only charge it by standing still, and only Sonic had it. Shadow has it now too. Or maybe even smaller things like being able to badnik bounce, which has been around since Sonic 1. Badnik bouncing is basically the ability to do damage by just jumping. You weren't able to do that in the original game, and now you can do it, and on top of that you can also gain extra height from doing it. To go even further, it's even a collectible for Silver, as he's the only main character without a homing attack. Anyway, at the end of the day, Sonic 06 was a rushed, buggy mess. It was a terrible game with a weird and confusing plotline, and it may be a small factor in Sonic's constantly declining reputation, but trying to be an optimist, there's still a light even when all seems dark. Like, for example, Sonic 06 actually killed Sonic at one point. Which is pretty funny. And I think Mephiles, one of the main bad guys, as a character concept is really cool. And how could I forget the lovable and broken infinite jump purple gem, which helped me skip the floating ball section in Aquatic Base. The whole point I wanted to make this video was to bring more attention to Project 06 and other fan projects out there, showing the better side of the Sonic community, since the rep they get is, well, not so good. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
And don't forget, if we never had Sonic 06, we would have never had Snapcube's Sonic 06 fandub and their quest to make Fortnite.
This is where we make our breakthrough. We're going to make a game. We're going to combine all the battle royales and make a battle royale better than Fortnite ever was.
So, this is the fabled Tilted Towers.
But more importantly, we would have never had Project 06, which helped show the potential of not just Sonic 06, but it helped show the potential of what a really good official Sonic game could look like. One that doesn't just rely on holding the boost button to win, and for once actually utilizes the unique cast of characters Sonic Team has on hand. For my closing thoughts, what was your favorite console growing up? Anyway, bye bye!